most of you do know, but if you don't, I was blocked by Ryan Reynolds. Yes. So Joe Rogan just entered the chat and he is team Justin Baldoni.
Joe Rogan just dropped a truth bomb on Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds and made his stance crystal clear. He's all in for team Justin Baldon. Now, everyone's seeing right through their blame game.
And it's absolutely absurd and it's not going to work.
Rogan didn't hold back. He called them out, demanding an end to the dirty tactics that are crushing Justin's mental health and ripping his reputation apart.
She's using it to assert control over Justin Baldoni, destroy his life. Essentially, it was destroying his family, his health, and everything else.
Joe Rogan just stepped into the conversation, and let me tell you, I've never seen anyone come in swinging harder for justice. That's right, the Alpha Mike himself, the godfather of podcasting, is backing Baldoni, and he's not even trying to downplay it. We're talking about a man with 14.5 million Spotify listeners, 16.4 million YouTube subscribers, and a massive 18.9 million Instagram followers. This isn't just an opinion, it's a full-scale public takedown. Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds, they messed up. And it's not just me saying it, it's Joe freaking Rogan.
This is what you get. You're trying to fucking ruin a guy's livelihood by using the Me Too movement
because they were trying to take over the movie.
Yeah,
they were trying to take over the movie and the whole franchise. He owned the franchise.
They're fucked.
The whole thing's crazy.
They're fucked.
And he's suing the New York Times.
This wasn't some vague Hollywood jab. Rogan straight up called it out. He said Blake and Ryan weren't using sexual harassment allegations to protect anyone or stand with survivors. No, they were using them to seize control of the movie. Control the movie? Yeah, real feminist icons. You'd think they were fighting for justice, but in reality, they were just hijacking an entire production, like it's Ocean's 14, the entitled heist.
That it's a bunch of fabrication and lies, and then you see the control that she took over the movie, and I just don't see how any of these reporters are coming to that conclusion other than they are just trying to meet some type of agenda.
Rogan wasn't even trying to be subtle. You could hear the disgust in his voice. And let's be real, when Joe Rogan calls someone out, it's not some quiet backstage whisper. It's like blasting a megaphone while the entire internet tunes in. This is the guy who helped shift the narrative in the Johnny Depp vs. Amber Heard case, and now he's locked onto the Lively Reynolds fiasco, calling it exactly what it is. Pure BS.
But that's what it takes.
That's what it takes.
It's like Johnny Depp.
Yeah.
He's like, all right.
Yeah.
He did it for the boys.
Exactly. You got to do it.
You need real motherfuckers to be like, nah, man, I ain't going out like this.
Yeah, especially a guy like that. It was like known as being like this really sweet, nice guy.
Yeah.
Full-blown Hollywood BS circus, where somehow a genuinely kind and level-headed guy like Baldoni gets painted as the villain, while two overhyped A-listers hide behind NDAs and legal threats, throwing tantrums. Let's not sugarcoat it. This double standard is outrageous. When Blake cries wolf, every media outlet jumps to listen. But when Baldoni, a man with actual receipts, tries to defend himself, people hesitate. Not anymore. Not with Rogan exposing the whole thing for what it really is.
And then it's like, all right,
dude, he posted the receipts.
Oh,
he's like, oh, remember our text exchange?
How about she told him to come into the dressing room while she was breastfeeding?
And speaking of Ryan Reynolds, Mr. Deadpool, Mint Mobile King, and Aviation Gin poster boy, what a fall from grace. Rogan didn't hold back on him either, and trust me, it was brutally satisfying. He called out Reynolds as a key player in this whole mess. And now, Ryan's suddenly trying to backpedal, acting like he had no idea what was happening. Oh really, Ryan? You just accidentally landed in a $400 million lawsuit? What? Did you trip, spill some gin, and faceplant straight? Into legal chaos? Come on.
Blake Lively, talk about ruin your reputation, and Ryan Reynolds.
Yeah, they fucked up. Ryan's trying to get out of it now. He's trying to get out of the lawsuit, and they're like, you are a key part of this.
This is what you get, though.
Rogan didn't even need to raise his voice to roast him. He just laid it out plain and simple. He called out Ryan for trying to slip out of the lawsuit. But guess what? They're not letting him. Why? Because, and I quote, "You are a key part of this." That's what happens when you try to play puppet master with people's careers, when you weaponize movements meant to protect real victims just to destroy someone's life. And now, you're shocked that the whole house of cards came crashing down on you? Give me a break.
Baldoni, Blake Lively thing.
Bro, Blake Lively, talk about ruin your reputation, and Ryan Reynolds.
Yeah, they fucked up. Ryan's trying to get out of it now. He's trying to get out of the lawsuit, and they're like, you are a key part of this.
This is what you get, though. This is what you get. You're trying to fucking ruin a guy's livelihood.
It's not just Rogan saying it. Brendan Schaub, who was on the podcast, called it out too. He straight up said that Reynolds and Lively were using Me Too as a career weapon. And Rogan, he didn't hesitate for a second. Yes, 100%. No, fence sitting, no playing both sides. But here's the real game changer. Rogan compared Baldoni to Johnny Depp. That's massive. This isn't just about defending one man, it's about flipping the entire narrative that Hollywood power players like Blake and Ryan tried so hard to control.
He owned the franchise.
They're fucked.
The whole thing's crazy.
They're fucked.
And he's suing the New York Times, and he's got a great case.
He's going hard in the paint. But
He
that's
should.
what it takes.
That's what it takes.
It's like Johnny Depp.
Yeah.
He's like, all right.
Oh, and Ryan's image, that lovable, self-aware, sarcastic guy we all cheered for in Deadpool, yeah, that's over. He's not Deadpool anymore. He's dead wrong. More like Blockpool, a soft-shell avocado toast influencer with a PR team working. Over time, that whole relatable guy act doesn't hold up when you're out here trying to bury a man under false allegations while your wife plays Cruella de Vil behind the scenes.
They just never thought that anybody was going to come out with the receipts.
Because no one's ever done it. Because everyone just bows
Because everyone's
down.
scared.
Yeah.
Because Ryan Reynolds A-list, Blake Lively A-list. Like, don't, they're the queen of the king.
Now, let's get to the receipts, because this is where Rogan drops the hammer and unleashes a firestorm of facts.
Van City Reynolds, who has blocked me, so I can still view his stuff. I just can't post anything. You see, guys, it's all grayed out. Look at that. My feelings are really hurt.
Justin Baldoni isn't just sitting back and taking the hits. He's fighting like a warrior, armed with receipts that make Lively and Reynolds look like rookies in a courtroom drama they tried to direct, but forgot to script. We're talking a full-blown website, text messages, voice notes, and behind-the-scenes footage, all proving that Lively's story is unraveling faster than her husband's Twitter following.
He's like, oh, remember our text exchange?
How about she told him to come into the dressing room while she was breastfeeding?
Let's just take a moment to focus on one specific piece of evidence, because it's so hilariously damning I can't even deal. Blake accused Baldoni of barging into her trailer while she was breastfeeding, playing the whole "he violated" my space card. But here's the kicker. She texted him to come in. Yeah, actual written proof that she invited him. This is next level clownery. You can't cry wolf after rolling out the red carpet and handing the wolf a VIP invite with step-by-step directions.
Told him to come into the dressing room while she was breastfeeding. And then part of the complaint was that he came into the dressing room while I was breastfeeding. Like, you literally have a text exchange back and forth.
Rogan called out that moment with absolute disbelief. You could hear it in his voice. Like, are they actually serious with this? Hollywood's elite has pulled these moves for so long, they never even considered that someone like Baldoni would actually fight back.
And then part of the complaint was that he came into the dressing room while I was breastfeeding. Like, you literally have a text exchange back and forth. They just never thought that anybody was going to come out with the receipts.
Because no one's ever done it. Because everyone just bows down.
Because everyone's scared.
Yeah.
Because Ryan Reynolds A-list, Blake Lively A-list.
They thought he'd just roll over and disappear. But not this time. This isn't some quiet backdoor NDA settlement. Baldoni came armed for war. Texts, voice memos, footage, a whole website. Who launches a website in the middle of a lawsuit? A man who knows he's been set up and is ready to set the record straight, no matter what. Rogan made one thing clear. This isn't a he said, she said situation. This is a she said, and he pulled out the receipts moment. And the best part? They weren't ready. They thought Hollywood's PR machine would protect them, that their A-list status made them untouchable. But here's the thing. Facts don't care about your Vanity Fair cover. Rogan literally pointed it out. They never expected anyone to show the receipts because no one ever does. Why? Because everyone's too scared of Blake and Ryan. Who wants to take on Hollywood's golden couple? But Baldoni did. And now they're scrambling. Ryan's blocking people on social media, silencing brand accounts, and watching as their carefully curated image gets torn apart by fans who are done with the hypocrisy.
I was blocked by Ryan Reynolds. Yes. Predator Pole himself blocked me. I don't know when he blocked me. I don't know if it's when I exposed on X what happened with his daughter in Deadpool and that abhorrent things that they made her do.
Justin Baldoni didn't just clap back. He launched a legal cannon straight at Hollywood's elite. And we're not talking about some minor lawsuit. This is a $400 million legal battle. Not $4 million, not 40. $400 million. You know what kind of shockwave that sends? That's not just a lawsuit, it's a full-blown industry earthquake. And right at the center of it, Blake professional victim Lively, Ryan I swear I'm innocent Reynolds, and their PR mastermind Leslie Sloan. This trio thought they were playing 4D chess. Turns out Baldoni had the rulebook and the receipts.
It's whiny, it's bratty, and it needs to end. So to that, I say thank you to Blake Lively.
This lawsuit isn't just some petty you hurt my feelings case. It's a full-scale legal takedown. We're talking defamation, extortion, false light invasion of privacy, promissory fraud, the whole playbook of a Hollywood power grab. Gone wrong. These aren't just claims. These are scorched earth charges, and Baldoni isn't here to play. Rogan looked at the case and straight up called Baldoni's legal strategy solid. And coming from Joe, that actually means something. This is a guy who doesn't hand out compliments unless they come with a protein shake and a punchline.
This is an amazing support that Justin is now getting from Joe Rogan on this case, and it's going to continue to get ugly as more things come out.
And here's the real kicker. Baldoni isn't just taking on Hollywood's elite. He's also suing the New York Times for their laughably one-sided coverage. Apparently, even the so-called paper of record couldn't resist singing backup for Blake and Ryan. Journalism is dead, folks, and Baldoni just showed up with a shovel. His strategy? No backroom deals, no hush-hush settlements. Just drag every shady detail into the light, back it up with undeniable proof, and let the public roast the frauds like marshmallows over a campfire. And if this lawsuit lands the way it looks like it will, we could be witnessing a major shift in how Hollywood handles its dirty laundry. No more false accusations getting swept under the rug. No more PR spin destroying people's lives without a single verified fact. This case might not just shake the system, it might just break it. Or at the very least, embarrass it so badly that it pretends to behave for a while.
She told the composer that she brought in when the other one was fired and she wanted let go, allegedly because Taylor Swift wanted him let go.
Now, let's talk about Blake Lively's little dictatorship. Because, wow, this woman went full Game of Thrones over a romance movie. The way she took over It Ends With Us wasn't just unprofessional. It was straight-up cartoon villain behavior. She wasn't just the lead actress. Allegedly, she was firing people, replacing crew members, and even blocking Baldoni, the actual director, from seeing his own footage. That's not just trying to be involved in a film, that's a full-blown, hostile takeover. She didn't want to star in the movie. She wanted to own it.
She basically called him and said that she has moved into the role of taking control of the movie and finishing it and doing the whole movie.
And what did she get out of it? A PGA credit. Yep, producer status. You know what that means? Real power, influence over casting, editing, access to everything. But the real kicker? A composer literally revealed that Blake herself called him and said, "I'm running the film now." She took over like she was directing a Marvel blockbuster, not some Nicholas Sparks knockoff. Yet somehow she still expects us to believe she's just an innocent little flower getting stomped on by the big bad men in suits. Get real. The irony here is so thick you could slice it with one of Reynolds' aviation gin bottles. Blake wasn't on some helpless on-set extra filing harassment claims out of fear. No, she was running the whole thing like a power-tripping CEO. When someone has the authority to fire staff, control the final cut, and lock the actual director out of his own project, that's not a victim, that's a boss. But sure, let's all pretend poor Blake was just a damsel in distress while she was out here calling shots like a mob boss in heels.
Mr. Reynolds was a key player in the scheme, defaming Justin around Hollywood, strong-arming WME, their agency, into dropping Justin as a client and trying to destroy Justin's career however possible.
And Ryan? Oh, he was there for all of it. He wasn't some clueless bystander. He's directly tied to this lawsuit, allegedly knee-deep in the whole mess. And his silence? It's louder than his Mint Mobile ads. If he really had an issue with how things were handled, where was his statement? Where was the accountability? Oh, right. He was too busy blocking critics on social media like a fragile man-child with a Wi-Fi signal.
She's opened up about the fact that she struggles for equality, all of the struggles that she faces on behalf of trying to stand up as a woman.
And here's where things really heat up. The feminism card. Rogan didn't just call it out, he torched it. And rightfully so. We're watching a Hollywood power couple twist a real social movement into a personal weapon. This isn't about safety. It's not about justice. It's about control. Rogan isn't dismissing real accusations. Far from it. But he's exposing the selective outrage. Blake makes a claim, and suddenly the world stops. But when the receipts roll in proving, it's all BS? Silence. Absolute crickets.
It's just disgusting. But as more and more evidence has come out, you're seeing more people are siding with Justin Baldoni.
It's insane how fast the media ran with her version. No cross-checking, no fact-checking, just Blake said it, so it must be true. Meanwhile, Baldoni is out here dropping screenshots, recordings, video clips, actual proof. And yet somehow, he's the one being questioned? Make it make sense.
But I'm grateful that she's going through this because it's making a lot of people question what, in fact, modern feminism has become.
And let's talk about this twisted version of feminism they're pushing. The believe all women, no matter what the facts say kind. This isn't empowerment, it's manipulation wrapped in hashtags. Even real feminists are stepping back like, wait, hold up, we're not defending that.
I think even feminists will agree that you can't just believe someone because they make accusations, especially once the evidence shows that it's a bunch of fabrication and lies. And then you see the control that she took over the movie. And I just don't see how any of these reporters are coming to that conclusion other than they are just trying to meet some type of agenda.
Rogan, along with creators like Dave Neal and Andy Signor, are being branded as misogynistic simply for asking questions. Since when did journalism become misogyny? Since when did fact-checking turn into an act of hate? It's ridiculous. The second you even question Blake's story, you're suddenly the villain. That's how they maintain control. It's no longer about gender, it's about power and image. And Blake and Ryan, they're doing everything they can to keep both.
To the point of misandrous, to the point where content creators, as you guys have seen, are being criticized as misogynistic just because we don't believe Blake Lively.
Let's call it what it is. This isn't empowerment, it's character assassination. And Blake Lively is the one pulling the trigger while Ryan Reynolds cleans up the evidence. They twisted a movement meant to support real survivors into a tool for their own Hollywood power play. But now that it's backfiring, they're acting blindsided. They never thought Rogan would speak up. They never expected Baldoni to fight back. And they definitely weren't ready for the receipts flooding the internet. They banked on the old, believe me, I'm famous routine to shield them. Well, not this time.
So over Ryan Reynolds. Enjoy it while it lasts, my good man. Cancel culture is sneaking up on you.
Ryan Reynolds really fumbled the bag, huh? The guy went from Hollywood's golden boy to full-blown villain in record time. It's almost impressive how quickly the public flipped on him. Deadpool fans? Over it. Mint Mobile customers? Jumping ship. Even comic book shop owners, the same people who've put him on a pedestal for years, are tossing his merch into storage like it's radioactive waste. Imagine being so fake that the very nerds who worshipped Deadpool are now pretending you don't exist.
All that money earned on the line for all the cases filed against for stealing another man's movie.
And don't even get me started on Reddit and X. The digital pitchforks are out, and they're not letting this one slide. One user straight up said, "You buried your career like that movie." Ouch. That single comment hit harder than any of Reynolds' scripted one-liners in interviews. The internet isn't just roasting him, it's torching what's left of his reputation.
And Deadpool fans are done with Ryan Reynolds.
And it's not just random trolls. This backlash is coming from longtime fans who actually believed in his whole funny guy with a heart of gold persona. But that act, it's over. The curtain dropped, and behind it stands a hypocritical, power-drunk Hollywood player who tried to help wreck a man's career while pretending to be the supportive husband of a victim.
Deadpool rocks. You and your wife, however, are complete garbage humans.
Even his brands are distancing themselves. Mint Mobile and Aviation Gin, the very companies he plastered his smirking face all over like some modern-day Don Draper, have gone full-on silent mode. That's the PR equivalent of trying to sprint away in Crocs. If your entire brand is built around you and suddenly you need to hide, maybe the issue isn't haters. Maybe you're the problem. One creator summed it up perfectly. Everything Blake and Ryan wanted to happen to Baldoni is now happening to them. And that's not just poetic justice. That's karma pulling up a chair with popcorn. They thought they could take down a man with baseless accusations, expecting the media to do their usual red carpet routine. Instead, Joe Rogan stepped in, flipped the entire narrative like a pancake, and now the world is watching them choke on the same lies they tried to serve everyone else.
There's a number of guys who are speaking up about this, but by and large, I would say it's mostly women. And men haven't really entered the chat in the way that I think if they understood the merits of this case, they understood the false allegations of sexual harassment.
Even his own brands are backing away. Mint Mobile and Aviation Gin, the very businesses he paraded like some modern-day Don Draper, have gone radio silent. That's the PR equivalent of trying to make a quiet escape in squeaky sneakers. When your entire brand revolves around you and suddenly you need to vanish. The problem isn't haters. The problem is you. One creator nailed it. Everything Blake and Ryan tried to do to Baldoni is now happening to them. And this isn't just poetic justice, it's karma pulling up a front row seat. They thought they could tear a man down with baseless accusations, assuming the media would play along like always. Instead, Joe Rogan stepped in, flipped the script, and now the world is watching them squirm under the weight of their own deception.
She got a PGA credit, and she essentially took control of the movie. She fired people. She brought in her own team. She did all types of things. She blocked Justin Baldoni from seeing footage, from finishing the movie.
Under California labor law, even contractors have harassment protections. True. But here's where things get ridiculous. Blake wasn't acting like a contractor. She was acting like she owned the studio. She secured a PGA credit and reportedly made it crystal clear to the crew, including the composer, that she was running the film. If that's not employer behavior, what is? And then there's her lawsuit, which actually cited tone, sarcasm, and negative energy as forms of retaliation. I'm sorry, did we stumble into an HR seminar for kindergartners? That's workplace abuse now. Someone had a tone? What's next? Suing a coworker for rolling their eyes in a meeting. This isn't a real case of misconduct. It's petty mean girls nonsense dressed up in legal jargon.
She told the composer that she brought in when the other one was fired and she wanted let go, allegedly because Taylor Swift wanted him let go.
Rogan and others have pointed out the real kicker. If Blake was the one deciding who had access to footage and who counted as essential personnel, then she actually had more power than Baldoni, the director. So, let's ask the real question. Who is harassing who here? Because from where we're sitting, it sure looks like Blake weaponized her fake victim status to distract from the fact that she turned the entire set into her personal kingdom.
With that, he said in an interview that she basically called him and said that she has moved into the role of taking control of the movie and finishing it and doing the whole movie.
And if the court agrees, if the judge takes one look at that PGA credit, those call logs, and those emails, it's game over. Her entire legal house of cards collapses. The harassment claim disintegrates. The lawsuit starts looking more like retaliation than protection, and suddenly she's not a brave woman speaking out. She's a powerful executive trying to silence the guy she pushed out. But hey, Blake's always been good at playing pretend, right? Now here's where Rogan didn't just comment. He flipped the script. His podcast didn't just defend Baldoni, it changed the entire narrative. What Blake and Ryan wanted to keep behind closed doors is now being blasted out daily to millions. And not just to gossip junkies. We're talking dads, gym bros, hunters, truckers, everyday guys who normally couldn't care less about Hollywood drama. Now, they know the names, the receipts, the shady details.
I think more men would be more outraged than the women are. But right now, women, by and large, are holding this. But this can turn the tides.
Rogan took the carefully crafted PR illusion and torched it in a single podcast episode. While Lively and Reynolds were busy curating their next Vanity Fair photo shoot, Rogan said, "Nah, let's talk about the real story. The one with text, proof, and a man getting slandered." And now we're watching it unfold in real time. This moment, it's the Depp versus Heard switch. The exact second when the underdog turns the tide and people realize the so-called victim wasn't who they thought. Baldoni, quiet and kind, is suddenly looking like a truth-seeking warrior, while Blake and Ryan, Hollywood's picture-perfect power couple, are starting to resemble two PR-obsessed manipulators with a script and a smear campaign. But here's the real game changer. Baldoni isn't standing alone. His courage, backed by actual hard evidence, is inspiring other men to speak up against false accusations. It's like someone finally punched a hole in Hollywood's carefully constructed lie bubble, and now the whole thing is deflating. And as for Blake and Ryan, this could be just the beginning of their downfall. Because in a town built on illusion, the moment the truth leaks out, the whole tower comes crashing down. This isn't just Hollywood gossip anymore. This is a full-scale public takedown. And Rogan, he just lit the fuse.